Morning.
Hello, lovely ladies. I'm Samara Escobar here as your Mary Kay Beauty Consultant, and I have the pleasure and the privilege to be able to talk this morning with Ms. Kay Walker, with Kay Walker Law, and Ms. Jaril Tudio with Spinnaker Investments. Hi, ladies. Good morning.
Hi.
Are you drinking your cup of coffee, tea,
Absolutely.
water? Who knows what's in there? Like, man, it's amazing. We're now on June 16th. Now we're kind of getting back to the new norm. Like, how are you lovely ladies going back to, how does it look? Are you adjusting? Let's speak about business, first of all. Ms. Jaril?
Well, I was more I wanted to meet with everyone in person. I want to have coffee. I want to go to the networking events, very social, right? I didn't even know what a Zoom was before, what a Zoom meeting was. One of the guys in my group yesterday, when he sent me an original Zoom link in December or January, I thought it was a spam. And now I'm on Zoom. The meetings are all, through webinars, and I'm enjoying it, right? Whether it be a casual conversation or a business conversation, I'm like, here, let's meet through Zoom.
Right? It's different though. I can't wait to give hugs, just an FYI. But got to be respectful of those. You could still do like the huggies from afar, 6 feet hugs, I call them.
Right, the virtual hugs. Yes,
The
definitely.
virtual hugs, yes. 6 feet social distancing. How about for you, Ms. Kay? How's the new norm looking for you?
Well, it's looking different, I think. The thing that I've realized during the pandemic, whenever we were going through quarantine, stay-at-home orders, was that we became more efficient, actually, for me, because I live down in South County. So to go back and forth, the commute usually takes a long time. So now you can Zoom, you can be there, you can still get a lot done, and you can prioritize your day, and you don't really have to worry about any other, anything coming up to delay you from being on time. So I like the priority time. We can accomplish more, and you can kind of go through your to-do list, which I started making even more succinct so that I can actually get a lot more done. So this has been great, actually.
Right. I've actually found to be every Thursday I go to my parents' house, and we have dinner, something we used to, because I was running around, as my mother would say, going to one place or the other, a meeting or whatever it was. I didn't get a chance to do that. So that's something that I've loved having the time to do. Seeing grandma, because grandma just came from El Salvador. She literally came the day before the stay-at-home order, and the borders were closed. She came the day before. And so that was nice to be able, crazy. So it was nice to be able to see her and to talk to her and be a little bit more, like you said, a little bit more relaxed. And yes, I have the Zoom calls that have made us more organized with our time, but also being able to have those conversations that I have with my grandma, yet still go on with my day. So, but I do miss people. I do miss seeing you lovely ladies in person. And we got the opportunity of meeting, I got the opportunity of meeting you, Ms. Kay, in Newport Beach Chamber. And ironically, I brought Ms. Jaril Tudio in the sense that I think it was the first or second time we had met, I told Jaril, hey, by the way, I've been getting emails about going to this Newport Beach Chamber. And she's like, oh yeah, I've been asked to go. Like, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, well, what are you doing for lunch? She's like, nothing really. So we got there, and the rest is history, because we all know Ms. Jaril Tudio, Ambassador of the Year. She's just been such a blessing. And because of Jaril, I went actually into the Newport Beach Chamber and then got to meet you lovely ladies. How long have you been, Ms. Kay, at Newport Beach Chamber?
Probably about almost 9 years. So
9 years, really?
Yes. So a little history that you might not know is I actually met my husband at the Newport Beach Chamber.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That is something that we're not touting it as a dating service, but it just so happened that it just worked out. So we're having our 6th anniversary on Sunday. So we're very excited.
Oh, yay. Yeah. Your June wedding. Beautiful.
Yes.
Ms. Jaril, has it been, 4 years?
3 years, yep. And the thing is, I also met my significant other at the Newport Beach Boat Parade dinner. through
No.
There you go.
Well, I wish I had a story like that, but I met him in college.
Okay.
That's awesome, though. Because you know how I was saying 3 or 4? Because mine's 2, and you were active a year prior to me actually becoming a member. That's how
Maybe it's 4 years.
that's how I kind of.
This year flew by, so I'm not counting it in my age years, actually. 2020. I
Well,
didn't use it.
we all look very fabulous, all of us. So not to worry about that. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about going. You know, we're like you said, Kay, we're going into stage 3, going back to our new norm, right? Back to our new norm. And we thought it would be a great opportunity to be talking about back to basics when it came to estate planning in the financial world. So Ms. Jaril Tudio, I've had the pleasure of being your client for, I believe, over 3 to 4 years. And I've always loved how much you care and how much you actually do check up on the annual reporting, as well as taking care of my family. I am the utmost grateful for the fact that my daddy, who has stage 4 cancer, you were able to help me out and really cared about getting us through the whole entire process, especially when I didn't know what to do. So for that, I appreciate you caring. If it was number one thing, yes, you have knowledge, but I appreciate the way you care about your client. So with that, why don't you tell us a little bit about some basics about this financial world?
So Kay and I have started working together on a couple of nonprofits. Being with the chamber, you're bonded with the same people with the same common interest, philanthropy and being business minded. So when I was asked to speak at Center for Autism, Kay and I have started speaking about basics of financial planning, and she would cover the estate planning that goes hand in hand with financial planning. And so this is probably our 3rd year doing this, right, Kay?
Yes.
So we have another one coming up in August with the Center for Autism. So we've been speaking at different organizations now because we've been invited through another parent group or another business group, and it's pretty fun. But the basics of financial planning, how it came about, really when I'm reviewing clients' life insurance or retirement plan through our firm, most of the time they're not covered. They have not thought about the ultimate demise, right? What happens when you're not here? It's not if, but it's when, right? It's so a lot of people this is one of those territories that they're afraid to ask, or they're not out there seeking for life insurance or estate planning, but instead we wanted to do it in a way where it's more conversational, it's educational and non-threatening. If you wanted to review it, we are here to help you. If everything is working fine and everything is set, we will not undo whatever you've already started, but except we will just review them. So that's what Kay and I have started covering. Kay, why don't you share with us our process?
Well, the process of estate planning or our process together?
Together, both, whatever, whichever.
Okay. Well, the reason that we work so well together is because, as Jaril just said, it's not if, but when. So what a estate plan does is it goes into what happens between now until the end. So you have different pieces of your estate plan that you put together for your advanced health care directive and your power of attorney, which all works during your lifetime when you become incapacitated. And your trust actually also works that way. And then the will is for the ultimate demise. So she takes it from now, and I continue with the now process until the very end. So it's very complementary. And with the Center of Autism, there's also a lot of special different kinds of trusts, and one of them is special needs. And with our autistic families, a lot of their children are in need of a lot of special care. And that's where we would put together a special needs trust so that they would not lose their government subsidies. during their, if they were to inherit money. So it's been a great little team so far, and I love taking it on the road. Education, I think it's really important. That's the key to making wise decisions. So if we can go out there and help people think about what they need to know and fill them in with all the, the basic information, then they can take it from there and be more knowledgeable. So I think that's kind of our key right now.
And I wanted to add, so when you're discussing basic financial planning and estate planning with clients, I'd like to do it in a storytelling way wherein they could understand it. So for example, when we did one last week with a real estate group, I said, look, a family is looking to enhance their lifestyle, right? Their standard of living. They're looking to buy a house, or they're pulling money out of their savings account, their life savings, to put it in a house. Think about it this way. If something were to happen to the breadwinner, now they have not protected their asset, which is their home, and their ultimate asset is their ability to make money. It's almost like a moral obligation if you don't talk about life insurance, because then what happens with that new family that just moved into their dream home and they have little children? So if you love someone or if you owe someone, you have to really think about protecting your family. And when you think about protecting, we put insurance on everything we own. We protect our home, we protect health, right? We get insurance. Right. Why not protect what we have as far as our ability to make money and our family? So when we're reviewing, we're talking about life insurance, and then we're talking about the retirement plan. We're talking about, like when you mentioned earlier, Xiomara, your parents, when they reach a certain age, the legacy planning or, transfer legacy, maybe long-term care planning and disability planning. And you could have all of that in place, but there's no legal thing that's binding it. This is when case estate planning comes in place, because then you need the executor, you need to have everything written down, the plan of how you want things to be executed. So
now I have a question for Ms. K. Because I had somebody actually ask me this to ask you, was, do we have to own a property to actually, meaning if somebody only rents a home, do they need to have a will and a trust?
Absolutely. Everyone needs to have, they need to have all the pieces together. So you need an advanced healthcare directive to give someone the assignment, so to speak, to make decisions for you medically. Then you need a power of attorney for finances, so that if you become incapacitated, someone can step into your shoes and pay your bills. So that's what that's for. And then your will, disposes of your assets, but it's in a one-time situation. So if you do not own a house, you feel like you don't own, you don't have this big estate for a trust, it's really not true, because a will has to go through probate. And if it's over $167,000, they just changed it, then the courts are actually going to have to administer your executor as he distributes the assets. So, you can imagine right now the time that it takes to do that. The courts have been closed. And so what used to take about a year and a half to maybe 2 years is probably now going to be a little bit longer and a more drawn out process. And it's very expensive. So if you have a trust, then you can just give your assets to whomever you choose without having to go through the court system at all. So it takes it takes away the cost. So say you have a $600,000 estate, and an estate is anything. An estate is actually all the assets that you have at the time of your death. So whether it's a large estate or a small estate, that is what's considered your estate. And then you think about the cost for that. So it's $13,000 is the statutory fee to go through probate with a $600,000 estate. So if you can imagine how much. So if it's a $1 million estate, then it's $23,000. So it's a percentage rate of the estate cost, the gross amount. And then with your trust, it doesn't have to go through the court system. So it's the cost of setting up the trust is kind of nominal when you think about the probate cost. So yes, long answer to your question.
No, that's a good one.
everyone needs all of it, actually, and especially if you have property. So as Jaril was just saying, we did a presentation last week for a real estate group, and if you have a home and say you bought it for $50,000, but now at the time of your death, your children are going to inherit, well, they will get the value at the time of your death. So can you imagine the capital gains you're going to gain on that? $50,000, and now it's worth 900 or $1 million. So it's a huge savings. So the trust comes in handy to be able to, give distributions at a different time versus just at the time of your death, like a will is. You could say when my grandson, turns 35, or when my son graduates from high school, or, you can put all kinds of requirements in the trust that makes it very personal to you. So I really emphasize a trust a lot, obviously.
Right. So the importance of planning before it comes, and what you're saying is if by not planning beforehand, there's all these other costs on top of it and time that would happen if we just simply took the time to just have the conversation with you and be able to just talk it out.
Right. Well,
right?
and it's just like with Jaril, if you take the time now and not wait until, like I asked her, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. So what time, what is a good age? Jaril, you can answer this. What is a good age to get life insurance?
That's always a question. But really the short answer is the time is now, right? We actually issue life insurance as young as 2 weeks old, a baby of 2 weeks old.
Wow, that's right.
The reasoning behind insuring my minor children is you're ensuring their insurability. With nowadays, you're seeing people are developing diabetes, they're being diagnosed with ADHD or everything else under the sun, right? You're protecting your child from being declined from life insurance when they need it, when they have their own family. So you have children that you are covering. And then also for young adults, I always say, get it now when you can, even if my daughter, my son, they all have their life insurance, because you lock the rate at that age, your health and your age, and you lock it in, especially if it's a permanent policy, it will never go up. And if it's a term policy, you lock it in at that rating and you could convert it within 10 years to a permanent policy. So the answer is always now. And I have people always saying, well, I'm not ready. But then, a lot of times people put in more emphasis on planning their vacation than, which is kind of sad. So it came to a point where my friends would plan their vacation. I'm like, before you hop in that, plane, or before you do anything, let's sit down. Let's put some planning in, I think it's just planning so that I don't see you on Facebook asking for GoFundMe account, right?
So. It's funny because my brother told me I can't afford to have insurance. And I was like, oh, you can't afford it. Okay. Alrighty, let's bring out pen and paper. Let's do a little budget. And I knew where the money was going, and entertainment. And he's fine with me talking about the story. And he realized, actually, with the quarantine, more than ever, how much money he was saving because there weren't places for him to go or to hang out. So he was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is interesting. And I was like, yeah, it's where you allocate your money, but you do have money to put away for life insurance. And even though you feel young and you feel that'll never happen, I'm not saying that you're going to die tomorrow. That's not what I'm trying to say, but to protect yourself. And the way he listened more was, if you do it now, you'll pay less than if you wait another 10 years when you're actually, oh, I'm mature now and I need to get life insurance. And you're going to be like, what? How much did I pay? I should have paid that like 10 years ago. So I told him, I'm like, look at the mistakes I made, and I waited too long because I waited I did it when I was young. And then 2008 hit. We all know how that happened. And then I started again. So I was like, it's where you allocate your money, but you do have for life insurance. And like you said, we have money to put for our auto that we have to, right? All these things we have to put insurance that is by law or things that we have to do. And the fact was that he realized he did have the money to put away, even if it was a little bit, because he's in his 20s, not going to name his age, but he's in his 20s.
Well, I also
So,
talk about that not just for families, right? For individual, also for business owners. So let's say you're in business, and a lot of times they want to they're excited to get the business up and running, and they sit down with a business attorney, set up everything. You go out and open your business account, right? But then there's sell agreement, and they never funded that. And years gone by and they become busy. There's no exit strategy for the business. And life insurance is one of those where you use it to fund your exit strategy, to buy out another person, or compensate your key employee, or even protect you from disability when you're not able to work on that practice. So I always say now is the time, because if you wait too long, it costs more money. It always costs, and if you die at the time that you're thinking you got a 10-year term or whatnot, I think if you get a policy, a lot of times, a lot of my more affluent clients and more financial savvy clients, they use life insurance for tax planning, to pay for their estate tax, and also the cash value growth on their life insurance, on their permanent insurance. They use it to for retirement strategies. So there's a lot of you. So it's just a matter of sitting down, like you said, when you sat down with your brother and really wrote down the budgeting. Where I remember my business mentor used to say, "Are you a saver or are you a spender?" And how you could figure that out. Sit down, write down where your money is going. This is your gross income. I did that with my kids the past few weekends when they were here. You sit down, where's your money coming? The amount of money you're getting in, and where is it going? Because my son was saying, "I can't afford this, Mom. I can't afford to put money on this. And I sat down, I'm like, "Well, what are you doing with the extra $1,500 a month?" Okay, so then we know it's going to movies. Dinner, coffee is like $5 per cup, right? They could afford something. It's a matter of the importance. What's important to you?
Right.
Say, if you love someone, plan and protect them. Right.
Because as you've said before, and you pointed out this, I think at every presentation, the first check you're going to get when someone passes away is their life insurance money. And there's no paperwork. It's not a long drawn out process. It's, just show the death certificate and you're good to go. So,
and as attorney, Kay could speak to this, because dies, everything gets frozen, right? Because they're waiting for, especially if they have significant wealth that they want to protect, or even if there's divorce involved or all that, things are there would be lien. But in the meantime, your power bill is still ongoing, food needs to be paid, your mortgage needs to be paid, even rent, right? If you don't own a home. And life insurance is the first check that comes to you. As soon as you have the death certificate, we submit to the life insurance company. That's the check. It's tax-free that you receive. You don't have to worry about it. And whoever are named as beneficiary, it's pretty much uncontestable, because insurance is separate from the plan, and whoever you have there. That's why it's important that we review periodically, either quarterly or annually, that we do a review. If you have a new baby, you had divorce, or you went through a merger or acquisition, or you canceled out the business, we always make sure that that's reviewed.
Right.
Beautiful.
We do the same thing. We have to make sure that all the beneficiaries are correct, and then all the trustees and executors, several years, things happen, and it's not always the first thing that comes to your mind to update your estate plan, or think about who you trust now that maybe wasn't of age before. So a review of your plan is really important every 3 to 5 years, but you do it yearly, so it's even better.
Yeah, I love this, and it's about just both of you lovely ladies. If somebody wanted to contact and ask some questions, you guys are both you guys have free consultation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what a lot of people are scared of, thinking, oh, I shouldn't, with insurance, they're going to charge me to go, talk to them. And sometimes people are scared to even ask the questions. And so because they're scared, I might as well just wait for a little bit more. And then again, we get busy with the day-to-day and the life. And if you're a business owner or you're not a business owner, like as an individual, for me, the importance of you know, even before my dad's cancer, it was important for me to realize that I was going to take care of my family. And so with that information, I was like, okay, Jaril, I don't really know, but can you like walk me through the process so I can have an idea? And I kind of have to like, because I know I'm gonna approach it one way or the other. It could be sooner rather than later, but I do need to see what my options are. And I think by having those conversations, they're not easy. I mean, you're talking about a future of your parents. You know, we know that, you know, death and all that, it's not a comfortable conversation, but something I've always been reminded, it's better to at least know with the process and know that you don't, like you said, not to do the GoFundMe's, and know that there's going to be something there. The pain will always be there, but preparing a little bit for all the other details that are important so the process can be a little lighter, I think was good, which means I'm going to have to go see you, Ms. K. Next month. There's a couple of things I need to figure out about my dad, and then I'll go talk to you about that as well. So, but I just really want to encourage all of us to just ask those questions. There's never, I mean, we say this over, there's never a dumb question. It's about something that you're thinking about and something that these two lovely ladies can help you with. Why not ask the question and you know, consult
right
with them. So I just want to encourage you.
Plan, right? If we don't plan,
Mm-hmm.
we leave our family and our estates and our assets in a condition we just don't even know what's going to happen then. So we got to plan for everything.
And we, just like what he said, you know, planning. What was the quote? They said, failing to plan is planning to fail. So
Try.
The family that you leave behind, they could grieve with dignity. I always say that. I've seen this with some of our family members before where, you know, even sometimes when they're already planned, it's still very hard to go through the process. But imagine if things were not planned ahead of time. You're going to have to come up with the money. You're going to have to come up with agreements within the family, how we're going to execute certain things, right? Especially with the parents, sometimes emotionally it gets involved. Kay was saying something in the past presentation where, you know, you have to choose who your executor, and that's something that she sit down with you with and you review to make sure that your wishes are granted. So it was.
Well, you know, think about it if you don't. And the other thing is you have to talk to your family. I just really feel important for the communication for everyone involved to know what the plan is, so that if there's something that they want to talk to you about, you know, like your kids, they might not agree with your idea of how you want healthcare decisions to be made. And if you can sit down and kind of give them your philosophy and help them understand, then when the time comes and tough decisions have to be made, then there's not as much conflict. And you certainly don't want your family to be broken up over something that you could have resolved years ago.
And Kay, I know you deal with things here in obviously the States, but if somebody has property outside, do you work with that or deal with that if somebody has property in another country?
In another country, you know, I have not come up against that yet, but I'd be happy to investigate and find out what we need to do. Sure.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. But before we log off, I wanted to ask you, lovely ladies, now that we're going back to our new norm, but in quarantine or during quarantine, what was one thing that you did more of? I'll give you an example. Me, I've been cooking more. I can make my own meat sauce now. Like, like that's something that I did, and I learned that if anybody knows me, even my own mother was like, "What? You cooked? And it actually tastes good." And I was like, "Wow, thank you, Mother. Like, I appreciate that." So, how about you, lovely ladies? What's one thing that you were like, "Whoa, that's a skill I didn't know I had"?
Jaril?
Ms. Kay?
Well, I did the same thing. I didn't know I could cook. So we made pasta, we made meatballs from scratch. I've started to curate my own recipes, you know, things that I surprised myself even. So now we have to get back to the gym.
Now you have time to do it that you never had time to do before.
Correct. And I did it with the kids around. So my children were here, and it was a forced bonding, because then no one has any excuse of being busy, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
How
Exactly.
about you,
True.
Kate?
Well, you know, I had started a book a couple of years ago, so I kind of had the, just the rough outline of what I wanted to write about, and so I've been working on that in hopes that my projected final date maybe will be a lot closer now. So it's a topic not about estate planning, but about navigating divorce. So I was involved in the family law section for a really long time. I've experienced it, and I feel like I know what people going through divorce need. So it's going to be called Navigating Divorce, and it's going to be, out in sometime in the future. Who knows when?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Didn't know that you were a writer.
I didn't either. Who knew?
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing these. Well, you tell us when it'll be out, and we'll be there supporting you. So,
Yeah, I want it to be a bestseller.
Yay! Well, thank you so much for both of your lovely times. Thank you for the opportunity of having these conversations. So where's your cup? Where's your cup?
Here we are.
All righty. So you lovely ladies have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. And thank you so much from my heart to yours.
Thank you for
you.
having us.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Of course.